Mike, I'm super excited to talk to Coach Patrovich over at LIU. Right, he was someone that I had the opportunity to coach against for many years on the losing end, and then I did get a chance to coach with him for a brief period of time, a couple of years, and just super excited for him personally. He was able to restart that program at CW Post, eventually, starting out D2 program. He had 3 or 4 All-Americans, did well, definitely upward trajectory. Now with their Division I program in the EIWA, which is a tall task, but if I could think of one to do it, it's Coach Patch.
Well, look, Mike, I think the world of Coach Patch. I'm close friends with all of his sons. He's a living legend as far as wrestling royalty and on Long Island in the state of New York, and in a lot of circles nationally. But I know that you were on the losing end a whole bunch, but I think that you squeaked out a couple wins against him too. I don't want to make you blush.
I don't want to say a couple. One, I think he actually, Coach would never let me win anything. One time we got lucky and we did beat them in a team. I forgot the year, but to quote a famous line from Coach Patch, I said after losing 4 or 5 times, I said, "Wow, this is some rivalry," because there'd always be a big crowd. And he said to me, "Vetrano, it's only a rivalry if the other team wins once." So it wasn't much of a rivalry. We did sneak one win out, but really, Coach Patch is a living legend. And really what people don't know is he also won a lot on the football field, right? He won, I believe, Suffolk and Nassau. Certainly Matty D could check that, but he won at every level in wrestling and football, at the state, the sectional level, county level, league level, every level. So I'm super excited.
Look, yeah, I think that's right. And a quick shout out and a lead into, we have New Hampshire Coffee Company sponsoring a portion of this show that we have. So you can go to nhcoffee.com and get yourself some organic ground coffee delivered right to your door. But yeah, the guy has drank coffee from 5:30 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. His entire career. He's been on the football field, the wrestling field, from an assistant coach at Levittown, I think was his first high school that he started at in Nassau County. And then, obviously did the things that he did at Islip, having one of the, best teams, ever, no matter where you went in time and space. You took that Islip team and whatever 2000 it was, you have Chris Wade, who's, fighting competitively, Ryan Patrovich, Thomas Magnani,
Mike, you're gonna give me nightmares. When you had to make a lineup card against some of those guys, I'm gonna start to squirm in my seat.
Yeah, those were some bad dudes way back in the day, and they had some big personalities. And Coach Patch was able to, do a little bit of Coach Gianni. Take a couple of kids who had a lot of talent, maybe not a lot of direction, and funneled them and molded them into, and that's just one group. Year after year, generation after generation, not just on the wrestling map of the football field, not just Division II wrestling, but now Division I. I mean, the man's resume and, what I hope to be his memoir one day when we read it it's significant. I'm excited to speak to him tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. People don't realize that 04-05 team might go down. I mean, certainly we could talk to when we get Andy Slauson on, talk, a little bit of wrestling history.
Certainly Andy Slauson, the baddest man and the best in the biz.
The best in the biz.
No offense to Matty D.
Yeah.
Matty D, we have him on a full-time basis, but Andy Slauson.
Well, Matty D, I say Matty D is Andy Slauson in training, right? Matty D has a number of years to go, but he's certainly in training. But that 04-05 team certainly goes down as one of the best teams really in New York State, right? I mean, there was a 2 or 3 year period, and this is rare for Long Island, right? That they were nationally ranked. They had several, they had, whether it was sectional champs or county champs. Those, if you don't know, in order to qualify for the New York State tournament, you have to win what we call Suffolk County, which is the first qualifying round to get to the New York State tournament. Now there is a wild card process, but for the bulk of it, you had to win the county, win the sectional title, and he had a number of those guys. So again, can't wait to talk to him. I'm obviously a little bit of a homer. I'm rooting for him. If I was a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid, and I was good enough to wrestle at his level, I would certainly consider LIU. So can't wait to talk to him.
You want the best of high school wrestling? Long Island Wrestling Association's website brings you the best. Wrestling is one of the toughest blue-collar sports. The sport has tens of thousands of followers, and at the center of it all is the Long Island Wrestling Association, measuring the gravity of the sport. In 2002, National Hall of Fame wrestling inductee Steve Meehan created the #1 source for wrestling news in New York State. With contributors like Long Island Sports Hall of Fame inductee and historian Andy Slauson, the site is the most comprehensive wrestling website in the country for high school wrestling news. With in-depth analysis, entertaining facts, forums, and trending topics, this site has a treasure trove of historic high school wrestling information, with records dating back to the 1930s. There is no better source for high school wrestling coverage. Long Island Wrestling Association, keeping the wrestling world up to speed.
Hi, welcome to another episode of 2 on 1. This is Mike Vetrano, along with my co-host, Michael Torriero. Today's guest is the pride of Farmingdale. He's won at every level in high school. He's a championship football coach, a championship wrestling coach. He transitioned to and actually founded the program at CW Post, which is now LIU Post, and that's Joe Patrovich. How are you, Coach?
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, good.
Great to see you, Coach Patrovich.
Thank you.
So Coach, obviously you did extremely well at the high school level. You won, countless individual county championships, team championships, state championships, the Eastern States. You've had Fargo All-Americans, tons of stuff, and you even won at the football level in both on Long Island, Suffolk, and Nassau. What was it like? I know that you were actually instrumental in starting the program. What was it like to make a transition from arguably one of the winningest coaches in the history of the state to now starting from the bottom at a D2 when it was D2 at CW Post?
I kind of done the same thing, as a high school coach, right? Wherever I've been, the program was struggling a little bit, and I'm trying to do the same thing at LIU. Obviously different in college, right? It's about recruiting. It's about getting the right guys, but and we need help. Everybody needs help. So we're excited where we're at. It was a struggle for a couple of years, for 4 or 5 years, but now we're making big strides. So we're really, really happy right now.
So speaking of, some big strides, you guys just picked up, one of my peer mentors is John Clark, a guy that I started wrestling with when I was a little kid, and, following his career at Ohio State and then at Brown and now at Sacred Heart, and what he's doing is really spectacular. Yeah. And, I don't know that you guys were making as much noise in the off season. He's been doing a great job marketing, and it didn't come to a surprise to anybody from Long Island, anyone that knows you. But talk about that win a little bit over Sacred Heart just recently, and kind of what that does to set the tone for this season right now.
Well, what John has done, in Sacred Heart is unbelievable with the women's program, and he's a great coach and a great guy. That being said, look, we've gotten better without question. They beat us last year. The recruiting piece for us has ramped up tremendously just this past year for the most part. So we brought in the right kids. Our freshman group is really, really good. So, the relationship with John is really, really good. I like him. I appreciate the conversations with him, but he's the most competitive guy that I know. When he's coaching, my goodness, it's a tough one, but I really enjoy him, and I think we're friendly. I'll leave it at that.
Well, that was definitely a big win, and obviously we're following along. So just to keep walking through the path, so you guys started out, you basically helped reestablish the program. Obviously many years ago it was a program. Now you went from Division II, and you had some All-Americans, some success, and now I think you started in Division I. Now you're in the EIWA, right? So what's that opportunity like for your wrestlers to now compete in arguably the first or second toughest conference in the country?
It's it's a struggle, but we're excited about it. Last year we didn't even know that we were going to be a D1 program at that time, so we kind of got thrown into it. Now EIWA, as you said, the conference is ridiculously good, but now we're ready for it, and we recruited the right guys. Like I said, I have a full-time assistant coach now, Malik McDonald, wrestler at North Carolina State, two-time qualifier. I have Mike Zimbler, who you guys know probably, and John Hamilton, who's a Hall of Fame guy, from Nassau County. So we have some help. And it's about bringing in the right kids, and again, we'll make a mistake or two, guaranteed, it happens, but we're bringing in the right kids. The most important thing for us right now, guys that love wrestling. You know, some guys claim they love wrestling, but you know, as a D1 program, you have to love wrestling. Guys have to work out on their own. They have to do the right things, you know, at the right time to make this work. You know, and we have those guys now.
What's the type of athlete, coach, that, you know, obviously the cliche answer is guys that love wrestling, so on and so forth. But from a terms of what LIU Post is offering, from the location close to New York City, for living on campus and training in the summertime, the locale to both the North Shore and the South Shore, you know, what's a student athlete going to get away from just the great mentorship that you're establishing as the first coach, and the wrestling piece? What are they getting as students from CW Post, Long Island Post, being on Long Island?
Well, look, it's one of the wealthiest areas in the country. You don't have to worry about crime where we are. Okay. The beaches, you know, 15 minutes away, North Shore, South Shore, whatever. There's beaches all over. When the city was doing well, right, that was a great thing for us. For recruiting. Now guys don't go to the city. I think it'll change again. You know, the city was a draw, and obviously the beaches. You can go, you know, out east, which is unbelievable. So the people that come and see the campus, it's a draw. The place is beautiful. There's nothing not to like. You know, the one thing, you know, if there's no party atmosphere, you know, on campus. There's no bars. There's no city, you know, and I think that's a great thing as a wrestling coach, right? And as a, you know, look, if you're gonna be that guy that wants to go someplace, you'll find a bad place to go. But on campus, our wrestlers stay here for the most part, and it's a great thing for wrestling, you know, for us.
And what kind of majors are they have? Education, you had mentioned you have some real motivated young athletes who know that they want to get into the FBI. Obviously, location to New York and some of your relationships on that North Shore would lend itself to business. If a Midwestern kid wants to come in and have ideas of working on Wall Street, if that's a thing, would LIU Post be a place to be able to go for just any type of education? Is there one thing specific?
Well, as far as the business school, our business school is one of the best in the East. And again, think about moving into this area or working in the city. Okay, you know, I think, Mike, you were there. We had a fundraiser from the Business Network, okay? Ed Rafrano, who's helps us in every way, okay? And Richie Applebaum, those guys. So there's a network, the Business Network, okay? And they help kids find jobs in the city, in business, obviously. And they're also wrestling people, right? So they believe in wrestling, they believe in business, and they did a fundraiser for us, and that's why our room got done. So we did it at the HC, okay? And I think that was a great thing. As far as the other pieces, you know, at Post, you know, education is legit. We have, you know, we have almost every major for the most part. So I think it's a great opportunity for any student, you know.
So coach, obviously, you recruit from Long Island, you know, New Jersey's in your back door, Pennsylvania's not too far away, but now you're starting to attract guys from even Oklahoma and other states. I think a lot to do with this. You guys have a brand new room that's about to be launched. You have nearly a full complement of the 9.9 scholarships. Has those things helped you to get the next level recruits? Has that been helping you along the recruiting way?
Yeah, without question. You know, Long Island, New York is tremendous for wrestling, right? You know, that area. That being said, some of those kids want to get away anyway, like everybody, right? So now we have to reach out a little bit to and branch out to Jersey. Obviously, we have some really good Jersey kids. Some of the recruits that we brought in right now, one is from Ohio, one is from Jersey for next year. And they're legit. They're really good. They're good students. They're good. They love wrestling, the whole thing that we talked about before. So we also have a kid from Oklahoma. We're reaching out to, you know, we're recruiting Florida, North Carolina. We got a kid that we think we could get, and Ohio. We got a guy from Ohio. So, and we're getting another one, I think. So I think we got to get out of the area because, again, especially this year, there's no state tournaments, right? So, you know, to find those guys is not easy, and we can't even get them on campus right now. You know, you can't. So the NCAA won't allow you. So, and that's going to go on until April. So we, recruiting is a little bit different right now.
Get it.
So-
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead. So one of the programs that's, as I speak to you, that's coming to mind is a brand new Little Rock program. I think the coach name is Neil Eiserman. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes.
He's doing a great job at, making his athletes have a real competitive schedule. But I think he has to go and put a lot of effort into his non-conference schedule. What about the athletes that are coming to LIU Post? What type of competition are they going to have? Is it going to be a lower tier, upper tier? What's the conference like, and what are those dual competitions like before the NCAA tournament?
This year is a whole different game. Okay, so like all we can, first of all, we lost the Ivies. We are supposed to wrestle the conference teams for the most part, and a lot of people are doing that. So you can't get out of your conference right now. Most university won't let you travel like that. So right now, our schedule is conference teams. We had one out of conference match. And again, the schedule changes every week, because of COVID, right? So we have to change the schedule. We move things, we move up, we move back. It's just crazy. That being said, we are going to Lehigh next week, and there's nobody better than them for the most part, right? And that's going to be a tough one for us. And that's a conference match. So we're going to wrestle the best teams we can. But we also have to wrestle out of conference next year with some of the teams that we can really compete with. Right now we're not there. We're not top whatever, right? But we are getting there, and we're getting better and better. And again, sometimes it doesn't look like it, but we know we're getting better, and the kids know that they're getting better. So it's about moving forward. Look, for me, losing like this, for the last couple of years, it's not easy, as a team. But again, find an All-American, find a guy that's all conference, a guy get to the NCAAs. Those little things will help the program and keep me excited, right? So it is what it is right now, but we are getting better, and it's, everybody knows that. I mean, last year we were picked to finish last in the conference. People told me that would happen for a long time. We wouldn't win a match, or anything in the conference. And the bottom line, we beat two teams last year, in the conferences. So, and again, that's a whole different thing. It's sometimes it's a draw, the seed, and you get a break or whatever. But we wrestled well. That's what we can hang our hat on. We are wrestling well, and we're wrestling better, and we're beating good guys. We're beating guys by a point where we would lose by a point or two, or get crushed before. So we are getting better, and everybody knows that watching us. Again, the conference is crazy good, right? So to get dual to be a good dual team is not easy, but we are getting there,
Coach, before we get into it further, just for those who don't know what Post is, right? You're within a half hour, 45 minutes from the city. As Mike said, you're near beaches on the North Shore, the South Shore. You're near two major airports, right? So to me, it's a great place to go to school, right? If I was a kid, I would definitely look at an LIU Post. I mean, yeah, like we talked about, you have almost a full complement of scholarships. You have one of the best conferences in the country. You're steps from the city. If your family wants to come visit, you're both airports. You're a train right away. You're an airplane away. But before we get further into that, tell us a little bit about the team. I think you have Hofstra coming up. What's next on the horizon? Is Hofstra coming up, Coach?
Hofstra this Sunday. Okay, we have Lehigh next Sunday. That's not even on the schedule because again,
Okay.
people they're trying to find matches, right? So Lehigh, they needed a match. They dropped. I think they lost two matches, so we're helping them out for the most part. Okay, so we're going to Lehigh, and then we have Drexel. We're trying to find another match. We might wrestle Sacred Heart, not as a duel again, like a mini tournament at the end of the year. So right now everything changes weekly. And we have a meeting every Monday with the EIWA, and again, every meeting something happens. Something changes. So that's where we're at, and again, it's not just wrestling, it's in every sport.